show you what he looked like here somewhere. Yeah, there's what the insect looked like.
Amazing, eh?
And he's the only insect known that's got 3 sets of wings.
You see, you got these little ones. It's almost like what
Yeah.
they use for tailplanes
They-
normally, you know.
They think these were shades over his eyes because he had quite big compound eyes.
Oh, I see.
And they might be shades over his eyes. It's possible, you know.
Well, they can also, they could move them this way a little bit, they act the same as a tailplane on an aircraft.
Yeah.
You know, they can go
Yeah,
up or it
that's
can
right.
go down.
Yeah.
Like the modern jet fighters, they have these little wings in
Yeah.
front of the pilot,
Yeah.
and they're controlled with
Yeah.
electronics.
Probably they took it off of this guy
I
here.
bet you they did.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the letter. It's addressed to me and to Helen Tyson and to the Nova Scotia Museum
Yeah.
and several other important people
Well,
that it has to go through, you know. So this is all the information that he writes about it, and he's very excited about it, and said it's 300 million years old,
yeah.
and so it's pretty old. So anyway, you can say you've seen it. Also, but in the same area where I found this,
Yeah.
I found a lot of single wings, and they believe that they're off of this type of an insect, but they're not absolutely sure. Because some of them are quite big, some of them are 5 inches long,
Oh, wow.
the wing part. And that's quite
Yeah,
large.
it's
Pretty
almost
amazing.
the size of a bird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So they're, but the detail that's in this is just superb. You know?
Fantastic. Yeah.
You just don't
Yeah.
get it any better than that.
No.
You
No.
know. You just don't get it any better. Expert has a lot of copies. He took hundreds of pictures, but I only have just a small camera, and it's not for taking close-ups.
Right.
So
Right.
I can't get the whole thing in.
Yeah.
No, but I still think that some of these guys, they should at least give you a copy of some of their pictures.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah,
should.
once he makes the announcement, you know, then it'll be public news then, but right
So,
now.
yeah.
They have to include your name too. Your name.
What?
Your name will have to be included.
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah. So he's coming here, and he said, and they're just rank students. He said they're fresh out of college, and they won't know absolutely nothing. And I said, oh, come on now, Donald, don't be hard on the boys. He said, I'm just getting them down to the platform where they belong. You know? That's what he said.
Yeah, I didn't speak well for the college if they would say that, right?
So anyway, he asked me, at that time he had 17 students, and he said he was going to be in the Parrsboro area for a week, and wondered if I could take some of my precious time
Donald
to
Baird.
go out with him and show him some of the areas where I had found these rare fossils. And I said, it would be a pleasure. I said, I can go with you for 3 days in a row, and then the 4th day I have to do some other things.
Yeah.
So I did, and we had a great time. Had
Yeah.
a great time. And so that started our friendship. That was 1950, you know, and he'd been coming every year, either once or twice every year after that.
Yeah, so he must be our age.
Pardon?
He must be our age.
He's older than you and I.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah, he's older. He must be pushing, I would say 87, 88 right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's me.
That's true.
I'm 88.
Are ya?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you was that old. I thought you was a young fella too, but you're.
I'm just fool them all the time. But it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people who don't believe it,
Yeah.
I show my driver's license.
That's good. That's good. Now, you should never turn off your camera, but Eldon had started to say, I hope that when I die, they bury me in a big pile of rocks. Then I'll have something to do.
You know, with some fossils and
Oh yeah.
rare minerals.
They better give you a little hammer.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. Yeah.
Ah, man.
Well,
No,
I've been doing this ever since I was 6 years old.
Right.
Yeah, 6 years old.
But I came here in 1953.
53.
Yeah.
Did you?
And I didn't have to, but my girlfriend's family went. And they ended up in York Settlement in Diligence River.
Jefferson River, Atlantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And then they moved to the big city of Amherst.
Oh, I see.
And I worked in the aircraft plant
Did you? In Amherst?
in Amherst.
Yeah, Canada Car.
Yeah, before that.
Oh,
Yeah.
before that.
But I became the chief engineer there.
Oh, I see.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, my uncle, he worked there too. He was a night watchman there at the Canada Car, Ben Griffiths.
I heard that name.
Yeah, Ben Griffiths. He had studied to be an engineer too, but he had a problem with his speech, and he had to give it up, you know. But he was smart. He was real smart.
Yeah.
But he studied to be an engineer too.
Right.
But he ended up being a night watchman there for a good many years.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. Yes, my brother in wartime, they built the big planes there in Amherst. I forgot what they called them now.
The planes?
What?
The plant? You want to know the airplane?
Yeah, they
It was
built.
the Anson.
Yeah, okay.
Avro Anson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a training plane.
It was what?
A trainer.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
2 engines.
Yeah, 2 engines. There was 6 of these big planes that was used in the war, and then they kind of commissioned them off, like, you know, and so they had them down in Halifax in war surplus. And my brother, he was in the war surplus business, and at that time there was a lot of use for aluminum and things like that. So he said, I think I'm going to make a bid on them. And I said, a bid? And he said, yeah, will you come to Halifax with me? So him and I went to Halifax, and he got in touch with somebody he knew down there, you know, that was pretty well up. And they took us into this big hangar where the planes was, and he said, now you're bidding on those 6 planes. And we didn't think we'd ever get it, you know. But 2 weeks later, they called and said, how would you plan on transporting those planes from Halifax to Parrsboro? You know, these whole great big planes, 6 of them. And my brother said, boy, I never thought of that. He said, you mean that we might have a chance of getting the bid? He said, no, you don't have a chance of getting it. You had the chance and it's yours. They're yours. Now you've got to find some way to get the money here. So anyway, what we had to do was get somebody with a torch, and they went in and they took this torch and just cut her up in sections.
Yeah, yeah.
And the big trucks that they used in the wartime, they had 3 of them, and they was like 15 ton each one of the trucks. And they brought all 3 of them big trucks loaded with these. We had airplane parts coming on for years. You know,
Yeah.
they was everywhere.
Well, when I was there, at one time, they were also cannibalizing Lancaster bombers. They were 4-engine jobs.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, these were the big ones. They had two props on them.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and they were big planes. They were big planes. It seems to me
Did he make any money?
he made a lot of money
Okay.
because at that time aluminum was in demand and everybody wanted it. And we got in touch with the junk dealers,
Yeah.
and they was paying a real high price at that time for aluminum.
Yeah.
And then there was another junk dealer, he wanted the props.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted the props.
Yeah.
And he ended up buying all of the engines that was in
Oh,
it.
yeah.
He bought all of them. And the wings was like 152 feet long, the two wings. Does that
That's
sound?
quite a plane, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
quite
it was
good. Yeah.
It was a big plane, I'll tell you that one.
You
But
didn't know
anyway-
the name of it.
No, I don't.
Were they bombers or passengers?
I think they called it a Hudson bomber.
Oh, the Hudson, yeah,
Yeah.
the Lockheed.
Yeah,
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 the
it was.
Lockheed, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they called it.
Yeah, I know the Hudsons, yeah.
Yeah, so you know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
there were two models they had. And the first one, they never used during the war, but before the war. And there was the same plane that Amelia Earhart,
Is that
I
so?
heard about her, that she disappeared with one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
It
When,
was the Lockheed 12.
yeah,
And then the Lockheed 14 was the one that you're talking about.
yeah. In 1942, this was just after dark at night. This plane circled around, and around. So a friend of mine, Walter Byers, he called me and he said, "Eldon, have you been watching that plane circling around?" And I said, "Yeah, I think he's trying to tell us something." He said, "He most certainly is. He wants to land." But he said, "We don't have any airport big enough for him to land." He said, "So," he said, "we gotta come up with something else." And this was in the wintertime. And the Abato was frozen over. And it was all ice. So I said, "Well, you got the Abato there and it's a mile long or close to it." And I said, "It's all frozen over. If he could come down, right close to the highway where the Abato starts, and come down and go up the river like, he's got all kinds of room." And I said, "Providing that the ice could hold," and it was that thick.
Oh yeah, it would hold.
Yeah, so it held him up, and he came down, and he was swinging in, he should have come out a little further and got us, but when he landed, he was kind of going sideways a little bit. He wasn't-
Skidding, yeah.
Yes.
Well, on the ice.
Yeah, on the ice. But anyway, that went up about, he went up the ice there 500 feet or more. Then there was a abutment sticking out where the road was, and he hit that abutment, and it bent his props up, like figure eight, looked like an octopus then,
Right.
and tore half of the wing off, but she turned around several times before she got stopped. But there was two English guys that was in the plane, and they were doing reconnaissance work in the area. And but anyway, we had to get in touch with the guys in the plane, and so Walter, he was the head of the Electric Light Commission, and he had a two-way radio, but it wasn't tuned into there, so he couldn't talk to them that way.
No.
So anyway, he got some lights, flashlights, and then we got Carl, and he gave a signal somehow, and the guy knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And so they crash landed there in Parrsboro. That was 1942.
Wow.
And I was there and seen her when she was coming down and first hit the ice, and of course there was a little bit of snow on the ice, and it was flying like a,
So you had a lot of history here, you know?
yeah,
Like the Hadley Page was the
Yeah.
other one.
yeah,
And, so
yeah,
I,
that was a famous thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
mother, she
yeah.
remembers that, the Hamlet
Right.
Page.
but you fellas were famous in general, but most people didn't know they were,
No,
right? You were just living in Parrsboro, and
yeah,
so what else is new?
yeah,
Right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid growing up, my everyday thing was to go down aboard the boat. And there would be 15 to 20 two-mast schooners, a couple three-mast schooners, and then there was 4 or 5 tugboats and a whole bunch of scows. And they had these scows loaded with coal that they got from Spring Hill.
Right.
And every 3 days they would bring 52 coal cars down from Spring Hill Junction down to Parrsboro, and they was loaded with coal. They'd back on the wharf, and there would be 6 boats at the wharf waiting to get coal in the hole. So there was these chutes that they lifted
And
out.
then they
and
dumped a car.
yeah, and they dropped they just opened this thing up, and all of a
So
sudden,
they were loaded at low tide?
yes, they
Yeah.
loaded at low tide.
Yeah.
And the coal went down into the hole there, and the guy that was in charge, they used to call him Tar Baby,
Yeah.
Tar Baby something, his name, whatever his name was, Clem. I get Tar Baby Clem, they called him. But he was just as black as the ace.
He would turn it into a black man.
Yeah. Yeah, the old dust flying, my God. And
Yeah.
after they got the boat loaded, then they'd take the hose and wash down the deck and things, but it would be
Yeah.
that thick of just dust all over everything. The sails, you know, a lot of them had sails.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when I was a kid, I'm telling you, I had one exciting life. Because I was aboard every one of those boats. I knew the captain, the mate, the engineers, and I was their errand boys, you know.
Right.
So it gave me a chance to get aboard the boats and see what was in them, you know.
Yeah.
And geez, I thought that was great.
Well, to me, you know, that's why I never left Amherst. When I came to Amherst, I thought it was the crummiest little town I'd ever seen in my life,
Yeah.
until I got to know people. And I got inside the houses and they were beautiful, but on the outside they were black and
Yeah.
gray. And
Yeah.
I said, how come?
Yeah,
They said, that's for the assessor.
yeah.
They didn't want to pay taxes, so they were,
Oh, yeah.
so they made them dirty
Never
looking
thought
on
of
the,
that.
yeah, made them dirty looking on the outside.
Yeah.
But I soon discovered that this is one of the best kept secrets in Canada.
That's
This place, you know, in all Nova Scotia especially,
yeah.
is God's country. You know,
Yeah.
there's no other place that I like better. And I've been all over the place. I've been out in BC and so on. Which,
Yeah,
you know, British Columbia is too big.
yeah.
You feel, but here you don't feel small. You
No.
know, you feel it's just the right size.
Yeah,
But just the right size of hills,
yeah.
you know, no big mountains.
Well, it's a fascinating place.
That's right.
And
The
the
people.
tides, ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, my father was the sea captain, and I used to go to sea with him. You know, we would take 240 tons of scrap iron from Parrsboro down to Maccabees in St. John, and we sold 240 tons of junk. It took us 5 days to a week to load all that junk aboard the boat that we had.
The violins here.
What?
The violins here.
Oh, you see? Okay. And so it would take us 5 days to a week to load all that junk aboard my father's vessel. And we'd go down to Maccabees and St. John at Market Slip. They come out with a big truck with a big
Grabber, yeah.
winch on it. It was, they turned this switch and it would just grab all that iron, 15 tons of it at a time or more, and just pick it right up out of the hole. And I said to my father, geez, I hope they don't pull the spikes out, because it had some magnet, but within 20 minutes time, they would empty that boat, which took us,
So they made fire hydrants.
yeah,
They still do. They did fire hydrants.
yeah,
That's what they cast.
is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that.
Anyway, that's where we sold it, was McAvity's in St. John, and they,
Good for you. So your VON nurse is here?
yeah, I gotta get my blood pressure taken.
Oh,
I either have high blood pressure or low blood pressure.
there's no other way.
There's no other way,
Well, she's
There
up
she
there.
is. So, nice talking
Nice
to you.
seeing you again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pleasure
Yeah,
talking to you
yeah,
too.
good talking to you, Eldon.
yeah. I'm going to get the boy to take his pick of your
Yeah.
rocks.
I